Imagine ruling a medieval state where your enemies include your neighbors, your nobles, your brother, and the world's largest empire. Vlad the Impaler didn't just survive that chaos. He turned it into his brand. Today, you and I are digging into the Playbook of Power from the man who weaponized fear so effectively that 500 years later, people still argue whether he was a hero, a monster, or something far more complicated. Vlad III. Dracula was born into turbulence. His father, Vlad II, Dracula, was part of the Order of the Dragon, a group sworn to defend Christianity from the Ottoman Empire. That sounds noble, but the political reality was messy. By age 11, Vlad was taken hostage by the Ottomans and kept there into his teens. He witnessed their brutality firsthand and learned early that fear was a tool. While his younger brother, Radu, adapted well to Ottoman life, Vlad never forgot who held him and why. Then, everything changed. In 1447, his father and elder brother, Mircea, were murdered by Wallachian nobles. Betrayal cut deep. That single event shaped the rest of Vlad's life. It burned the idea of mercy out of him. When he finally returned to Wallachia, his mission was clear. Destroy anyone who had helped kill his family and make sure no one ever tried it again. But the true launch of his legendary rise came in 1456. Wallachia was unstable. His rival, Vladislav II, had left the throne exposed while campaigning with John Hunyadi. Vlad seized the moment. He marched into Wallachia, confronted Vladislav, and according to contemporary accounts, challenged him to single combat. Vlad won, took his head, and took the throne. It was a violent start, but it set the tone for his reign. Vlad opened the first page of his playbook, Rule Through Fear. And fear was something he mastered. Impalement became his trademark. Modern historians estimate around 2,000 to 2,300 impalements, although German pamphlets exaggerated the numbers into the tens of thousands. Vlad didn't need to impale everyone. He just needed everyone to think he would. His most shocking display came in 1462. Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople, marched into Wallachia expecting a routine crushing of resistance. Instead, he found what chroniclers called a forest of the impaled. Thousands of staked bodies stretching across the landscape. Ottoman soldiers, hardened by years of warfare, recoiled. Even Mehmed reportedly hesitated. Fear bought Vlad valuable time. But terror alone doesn't secure a throne. Vlad followed with another tactic. Erase your enemies at the root. The boyar class had murdered his father, undermined rulers for generations. Vlad ended that. In 1459, he invited boyars to an Easter feast. After the meal, he arrested them. Some were impaled. Others were forced to march 50 miles to Ponari Castle and work until they collapsed. The old noble families who destabilized the state were suddenly powerless. Vlad didn't negotiate with corruption. He neutralized it. Now that he had internal enemies handled, he turned to the bigger threat, the Ottoman Empire. Wallachia was tiny compared to the Ottomans, so Vlad turned the terrain and the people's fear into weapons. He burned villages, he poisoned wells, he destroyed crops. His most audacious move came during the night attack at Targoviste in 1462. He led a small cavalry force deep into the Ottoman camp. Their objective was simple: kill Mehmed II. They didn't achieve that goal, but they threw the camp into chaos and inflicted heavy casualties. For a brief moment, the unstoppable Ottoman Empire looked vulnerable. But Vlad's tactics weren't limited to war. He believed strict order was the only way to prevent betrayal and chaos. His law enforcement was brutal. Thieves, liars, corrupt officials, and cheats were punished with extreme severity. Stories from German pamphlets describe merchants impaled for dishonest practices. During his reign, trade became safer, crime dropped, and corruption was punished. Many Romanian chroniclers later praised his harsh but effective order. To Vlad, stability was worth any cost. So what drove him to rule this way? His psychological drivers were shaped by trauma, strategy, duty, and paranoia. As a child hostage, Vlad saw fear used as political currency. When he returned home to discover betrayal had destroyed his family, he internalized a simple lesson: only absolute control keeps you alive. Historians note that his violence was strategic, not random. He lacked the military strength to fight large enemies head-on, so terror became his equalizer. Religion played a role too. As a member of the Order of the Dragon, he saw himself as a defender of Christianity. That belief justified extreme measures. And above all, paranoia pushed him to eliminate any threat before it grew. In a world where alliances shifted constantly, he trusted almost no one. But fear cuts both ways. Vlad's blind spot was the same tool that built his power. He thought terror made him untouchable. Instead, it isolated him. His scorched earth tactics devastated his own population. His brutality angered allies. His enemies used his reputation to turn others against him. In 1462, when he needed Hungarian support most, King Matthias Corvinus arrested him on questionable charges. Vlad spent 12 to 14 years imprisoned. During this time, pamphlets portraying him as a blood-soaked monster spread across Europe, shaping the legend we remember today. He returned to the throne for a brief period in 1476, but the support he once commanded was gone. He ruled only weeks before being killed near Bucharest. The most accepted account claims he was attacked by an assassin disguised as one of his own soldiers. His head was taken to Constantinople and displayed on a stake. The Impaler became the Impaled. So where does that leave us? Was Vlad a hero or a villain? The answer depends on which version of history you stand in. He resisted one of the most powerful empires of the era with extraordinary determination. He brought temporary stability to a fractured state. But he also inflicted immense suffering, crushed dissent with brutality, and used fear as the backbone of his rule. His playbook teaches us 3 lessons. Fear can win battles, but it cannot sustain loyalty. Order built on terror collapses the moment people stop fearing you. And when vengeance becomes your identity, your future turns into a cycle you cannot escape. Vlad the Impaler forced history to look at him. Whether you see a hero or a monster says as much about you as it does about him. And that is the true power of his legacy.